Welcome back to IGN Live at E3 2016. Here we are. I'm Max Scoville, and I'm with Clifford Blazinski and Arjan Brussy. You guys are the founder of Boss Key Productions, and you have a long history together making video games.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. We're doing the studio, and we're getting a lot of hype about the new game, and it feels really good. But a lot of people don't know the history of the fact that the first breakout hit of a video game that I did was with this guy.
You guys made Jazz Jackrabbit.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Over
So I
20 years
programmed
ago.
it, right? And he was the designer and artist in the beginning.
And then you founded Guerrilla.
Yeah.
And then you went and made Gears. Like I love that you guys went
Well,
off
the
and-
joke is always that like Magneto and Professor X, like friends and then enemies,
yeah, totally.
but then friends again, right?
Yeah, like
So-
yeah.
Well, the thing is when I went to start the studio, when I was like retired and getting bored, I'm like, I want to make some new stuff, but I knew if we were going to pull it off, I needed to find the right partner and then find the right team and everything like that. And I was considering some other people for the COO, who basically is the person who has to deal with all the crap that I can't deal with or I'm not good enough to deal with, and which is what he does on a daily basis and lets me make all the fun stuff.
Now,
Oh yeah.
yeah, like Lawbreakers. We are in the age of the hero shooter. This is like the big new thing, but it's not really a big new thing. It's an arena shooter.
Well, there's arena shooter DNA there, but if we were just a pure arena shooter, it'd be one of those things where you play the game for 30 minutes and you're like, I've seen everything I need to see, and that's not going to fly in 2016 and beyond. That's where like abilities come in. That's where having characters with unique movement and unique weapons and whatnot come in. And so we have some of that DNA, but we were really evolving it for this kind of new generation. The thing that separates us in our game is the fact that you can manipulate gravity. And we have,
Right.
we have static gravity that's been manipulated, like lunar gravity in the middle of the map. We have characters that can create giant zero-G pockets. We have characters that can increase gravity, characters that can invert it, so rockets go flying up and everyone goes flying up off of the map. All sorts of really, really cool modes like this, and a lot more in the queue because it's going to be a living product, and we have all sorts of surprises in store.
That's awesome. I love the double entendre with the name. It's because gravity is, of course,
And
a law in
the
itself.
main thing when you're naming a game is what sounds cool, but also what's legally available.
Right.
And I'm astonished that like I could use Boss Key and Lawbreakers.
Yeah.
Like no one's thought of this before.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
And so when I was naming the IP, I really realized going with like orthogonal thinking. So like when you say Halo, you picture is it like a game about like a cherub or something or an angel. No, it's once oh no, it's about the ring around the ring in space, right? And so for this, it's like Lawbreakers. Is it like a western or is it about like Chicago mobsters? It's like no, it's about law versus breakers, organized law versus organized gangs, all breaking the law of gravity and physics.
I love
Can
it
you tell
'cause
I've said that before?
It has, yeah. You're good at this. You know what you're doing. This is not your
Not my
first
first rodeo.
Yeah. So obviously, you have you did Unreal Tournament, which also had some weird stuff with gravity.
Yep.
And it was just kind of like I mean, there's lore there, but like I feel like it's mostly sort of like there's zero G because it's fun.
Well, that was the entire Unreal franchise. It was
Yeah.
a bunch of individual designers just throwing a bunch of crap at the wall and seeing what stuck.
Yeah.
And so for this, and we're showing off Promenade right here with our new mode, Turf War, which is kind of like speed checkers domination. And basically, this map is a reimagined version of the Santa Monica Pier after it had been destroyed and rebuilt 25 years later. And so it's in the near future, like 50 or so years in the future. And this map has a lot of what I call passive narrative, a lot of signs you can read, learning about pharmaceutical companies, learning about the monument to the folks who died in that area when the earthquake hit, seeing the fact that the Ferris wheel is now omnidirectional in the distance, seeing stores. There's a men's fashion store that I named Menvy that doesn't exist, but that sounds like it could be
Yeah, I know that's-
at the 3rd Street Promenade. There's a California restaurant called Kale Avocado, which would not surprise me if I walked outside and saw a place called Kale Avocado.
Yeah, I feel like you might wind up getting sued for that because in San Francisco there probably is a place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Kale Quinoa Avocado
Yeah.
or something like that.
Ugh, I'm so
yeah,
sorry about
in
our
the center
kale.
of this map, we have kind of another gravity anomaly. And one of the little things that really starts to separate this game is the fact that you can shoot behind yourself. You can blind fire in first person.
Oh,
so
whoa.
this all comes out of the fact that, I was reading these books such as Leviathan Wakes and whatnot. They were talking about what happens if you fire a gun in zero G.
Yeah.
And so what happens if you fire a gun behind you? Well, you wind up projecting yourself like Wall-E with the fire extinguisher. So in order to traverse the map, you hop in the middle and you fire your rockets behind you, you fire your assault rifle, and you just zoom right through it. And it's very rare, but once in a while you actually get a blind fire kill, so you're like Ash in Evil Dead.
Dude,
you're
that's
like,
awesome.
Ooh. You
Okay.
can see the blood in zero G right there too.
Can you tell a little bit about the characters that you've got here?
Yeah, so what we're going for with these characters is kind of aspirational from what I consider cool. So it's like, we have Axel, who's kind of a futuristic DEA agent. We have Hellion, who is an assassin who's kind of like a callback or a throwback to Oranishi or the bride from Kill Bill. right? Those are the archetypes we're going for here. A lot of these games have got really, really wacky with a lot of the characters, and that's what makes those games appeal to the crowd that has it. But I want to make kind of the slightly more grown-up version of that actually has women who are the pilot and the jet at the same time and zipping around the map like Iron Man with pulses coming out of their hands, right? And I can see you staring at it because what I'd like to believe is we made something very watchable.
There's a lot of visual information here.
We also have ex-con named Kronos, who's kind of our big titan, and he can like double. He normally has a rocket launcher, but he can double in size and shoot lightning out of his freaking hands because it's awesome.
That's cool. I like that. I like you're putting in like thoughts to like the kind of the grounded stuff, which is a weird thing in a zero-G type of universe. But kill Mikado, but also lightning figures.
Yeah, well, I mean, sometimes, that's when I actually to fight for with my team. They all know I could say just do it because I said so, but I never want to do that. There's the two things in the game. It was the robo legs on Hellion and the lightning hands. The team was kind of doubtful, and they wind up being two things that stand out. It's the old screenwriting joke. You got to cut the monkey out of the script. It's like, no, the monkey's the best part. It's the same thing with Mad Max Fury Road. The guy with the guitar, that was the best part of the movie. Yeah. He was amazing. And some people are like, I don't know about that. You're like, no, that's what makes it unique and awesome.
So this is in alpha right now, or closed alpha?
So on the 18th this weekend, we're going to a closed alpha. You can get a key on lawbreakers.com. We've given out a lot of keys here at E3. On the 16th, it's going to be preloading on Steam. And we're not free to play, by the way. We're targeting somewhere between $20 to $40 price range because we're a multiplayer-only game. I don't want to be charging $60 for that. It's kind of, gamers sometimes get weird about those price points, right?
Yeah.
So if we can have an impulse buy type of price, I think it might help us out a lot.
Yeah, and obviously I'm guessing you're going to hinge this on community a lot.
And community is everything these days, but it's not just that. You need your Twitch streamers, your YouTubers, your cosplayers, your social media. It's like, multi-headed Hydra in order to make a game actually become a thing. So on the 18th, we're going to have one map, which is going to be called Grandview. It's not this map. It's our kind of Grand Canyon reimagined with gravity anomalies in the middle, as well as our first mode, which is called Overcharge, which is kind of like a dramatic version of One Flag CTF. And then in early July, this map, Promenade, is going to come online with our Turf War mode, which is, again, the speed domination, which goes super quick, and every match usually ends with tremendous drama, sweaty hands, much screaming, and much shoulder punching.
Yeah. So this is fast as hell, and this is a PC game. Is there any plan to put this on consoles, or is it just designed from the ground up for PC?
We're PC primarily. We're not worrying at all about consoles in regards to verticality, full-on keyboard and the mouse. If Sony and Microsoft want to talk, we're open to talking. It wouldn't be us who to consider porting. It would probably be them. I can tell you one thing, if the game does come on consoles, I don't want to do crossplay. Because if you are playing a game with this kind of pacing with the controller, and you go up against somebody with a keyboard and a mouse, and the console version is 30 frames with a controller, and somebody has an awesome PC rig that's going at 144 frames a second.
It's just cruel.
You just get beaten down, right? And then our matchmaking gets exponentially more complicated. I don't think it's worth the effort in order to do that.
But I think also for us, right, it's kind of interesting because we were both like exclusives on consoles, right? Me with Killzone, Cliff with Gears. And we were making this PC game, and you have to unlearn a lot of kind of tropes that are to do with console games, right? Like the auto aim and the tracking of the weapons, and the lack of verticality, right? Only the horizontal type scanning and all that. And I think we made like a very unapologetic PC shooter, which is like super fast, runs up to 144 or unbounded kind of frame rates. That speed over pure graphics, right? So we don't want to sell platform, we're just on PC, right? So make it play as fast as we can, right? And then none of these helpers, right? It's like no auto aim, right? So yeah, it's going to be hard to play with controller if you don't add those kind of things.
He's a frame rate nut too, by the way, and it's one of those things like whenever we're in the playtest
latency,
lab,
right?
Yeah, exactly, and or tick rates and everything like that. Because when you're making a game that where 50 to 100 milliseconds can make all the difference, maybe someday, even if we become an esport and millions of dollars are on the line, you're going to want to make sure, people don't lose the match to randomness. They don't lose the match to wonky hitboxes and collision. They want to make sure everything is airtight at the core of the game, so the player melds with their controller and kind of become one with the game.
Well, I mean, it's cool that we're in this ecosystem where there is the immediate feedback. You're doing a closed alpha because that's. Well, I mean, so those of you who are getting in the alpha, or you see me at E3, and my wife and I are carrying the keys around as is Ardian. It's one of those things like there's going to be things that are going to be broken.
It's certainly not going to be balanced. We're going to be introducing, more characters as the game comes on. If you buy the game, we introduce any new characters over the next year or so. You get the maps for free, you get the characters for free. We'll probably have some sort of microtrans for cosmetics in there, which we haven't even figured out yet. But we're iterating here. And then those who get in early, we're going to want to find a way to reward you to say I was there from the start and I helped Boss Key make a fantastic game that's smooth and seamless and well balanced.
Awesome. I mean, you guys, you care about making games.
Well, I mean, I was retired and I missed it. I missed this mess of E3. I missed people getting tattoos for the game. I missed cosplayers. I missed young couples coming up to me and telling me they met online in the game. And I want to make money and keep the darn lights on, but I often joke it's like Lady Gaga. I live for the applause, man.
Yeah, you got some very good cosplay fodder here.
That's the goal, man.
Make some action figures too, please.
Yeah, well, we may be working on some stuff like that soon.
Cool.
Well, the more the merrier.
So much for coming by. Like this is really cool. The game looks fantastic. Again, it's lawbreakers.com, or is it?
Yes, lawbreakers.com.
Cool. So yeah, check it out. And that's, you said the 18th?
18th.
Awesome.
Going live.
Thanks so much. We've got more E3 coming up tomorrow. It's the last day of E3 tomorrow. I'm sorry, but we do have to go home at some point. So that does kind of suck. On that note, keep it locked. We'll see you guys tomorrow.